So as we get organized, I request the DJ to play some music so that otherwise I would like to welcome you, and I want to thank those that attended the Monday meeting. It was a great meeting. It was purposely brought for you. Please enjoy it.
According to our program, we are here for a noble cause. We are here for a cause of what is devastating humanity, a cause that is making the world to lose itself, a cause of environment and its protection. We are glad that we got a letter from Interreligious Council, from the Bishop himself, telling us that you're coming here with a message. This year's theme, and maybe the Prime Minister will extend on that, of the King is about conservation and rebuilding our environment. So we are very pleased that you have come today on the same subject. Plans that lie ahead. From the little I know, it is about protecting the environment and planting trees, but the details I don't know. So in that line, we are going to have a talk from your side. But before we do that, we are going to introduce ourselves here.
Work of Africa, the headquarters in Nairobi, under the auspices of the African Council of Religious Leaders. I also happen to be the chair in Uganda, and I sit on the executive board of IRCU. Greetings from the Archbishop to everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyabazinga'S. My name, I'm Reverend Daniel Token Wejuli. I work with the Interreligious Council of Uganda as a program into mobilization, mindset change, and at the same time, I lead spirituality, faith.
But they are looking at a social impact initiative, and they are a strong agency internationally that is fighting environmental challenges through planting trees globally. So they are not only coming to sign an MOU in Uganda and implement here, they are globally operating in various countries already where projects are running. So Uganda is an expansion of their initiatives globally. So the two institutions entered into an MOU and partnership to plant 250 million trees in Uganda. And our project ambition, objective, is to reduce climate change vulnerability through afforestation, reforestation, and conserving the trees. As you are aware, you realize that Uganda is one of the countries that is experiencing rapid global climatic changes. We have a number of changes in terms of the weather conditions. Previously, we used to have December as a dry season. Currently, it's rain. Yesterday, my visitors were showered with rainfall at the Paradise Farm when they were planting trees and everybody was wondering, raining in December. We have a lot of temperatures increasing. We have a lot of diseases picking up. We have a lot of drought, famine, changing and rising up because of the massive environmental questions. There is rampant deforestation because of the challenges people are having, particularly poverty. People are cutting trees to get charcoal. People are cutting trees to get timber. People are cutting trees also to do any other factors that are rising as a need for survival. So IRCU and Grow Foundation realizes the need for an ambitious requirement to address this phenomena that's growing at a rampant level. And that's why the two institutions have come up with this initiative project. And the project has 3 key objectives. Number 1, it is focusing on planting the trees through the reforestation and afforestation. We want to replace the species of the trees that have been cut. And for us, we are not planting, we are also growing them. So we want to see a tree exist where we have planted it. And that's why we are looking for serious institutions that will not give us headache. And that's why we are in the kingdom. Number 2, we are going to do mobilization and capacity building of communities. Because we came to realize that one of the reasons as to why people are cutting these trees is 1, ignorance. The purpose of these trees, they don't know the challenges, negativity they are raising or creating towards the neighbors, the environment and the country by cutting a tree. And we want to build the capacity of these people to understand that preserving, conserving, planting, restoring a tree is important. 2, we want to build their capacity to even plant it. People think planting is just bringing a tree, you dig a hole, you put it there, you go away. So people need to understand what are these methodologies and processes that you have to undergo to make sure you have the right tree onto the right soils, the right climate or weather conditions around, and how can it be managed. And we are going to work with the local community structures to train them, to equip them, to knowledgeize them. The 3rd objective is the project aims at strengthening and improving the economic conditions of the youth and the women. Previously, as I've just said, we come to realize that the cause of this deforestation is poverty. People don't have livelihoods. People are just looking at a tree as a source of survival. That's why we have massive eucalyptus in Busoga. Why? They think in the next 2 years, they will cut and get money. This is a very big, bad thinking on tree planting. And we find a situation whereby we are looking at putting up livelihood opportunities and activities for the youth and women. We support them. We have been discussing with my team since, I think, October. And we are chatting, where should we start from? Where's that uniqueness of structures and the team? There was Toro Kingdom. 2, there was Buganda Kingdom. And 3, there was Busoga Kingdom. So I think by God's grace, Busoga took the lion's share. So, and when we were in the design, we even did not discuss that we should just go to Busoga. It was paperwork, continuous paperwork and feedback, and people said, I think we need Busoga. And it just became by surprise.
But our vision is to use carbon and climate finance to end poverty and uplift communities at a grassroots level. The communities of the Busoga Kingdom being an example of what can be done. Carbon finance is explained easily in a word. Actually, it's a sentence. Ik houd van jou. Ik houd van, try that.
Ik hou van jou.
Exactly. It's Dutch, exactly. Don't give it away yet. Ik houd van jou. Now, carbon finance and compliance, it's harsh sometimes. But that's just because it's a new culture, it's a new way of doing things. Ik houd van jou sounds harsh. It's Dutch, as you would know. And it means, I love you.
Oh.
So what we want to do is teach. We want to bring a new method of doing things. Because trees planted the right way, as James had already said, trees planted the right way unlock a new form of capital, a new source of income and cash flow for all the stakeholders in the country. Only 1.5% of all global investment come into Africa. And that includes the World Bank, the IMF, the European Central Bank, USAID, and everything. Only 1.5% of all global investments. But Africa is already rich. Africa has resources, Africa has talent. If you just look around driving through the Busoga Kingdom, there's so much potential here, but it needs to be unlocked. Now, climate finance is exactly that opportunity. It is something simple to do. It's as simple as taking a seedling, putting it into the ground, having dug a hole, and then pouring some water into it, and making sure it grows. But this comes with a lot of compliance that might not be understood. Ik houd van jou. It's harsh. But done right, like I said, think of it as a fruit. If you plant an apple tree, after a while it'll give you an apple. If you plant trees the right way, with natural biodiversity that protects wildlife and expands the natural biodiversity within the communities, we can, number one, restore the natural forests that have been lost in Uganda and the Busoga Kingdom already. Nearly 50% of all trees have been lost in this country. That can be restored. Uganda wants to plant 6 billion trees in total. The question was, how does this get paid? Why can't I not knock down that tree if I need firewood? That's a fact. Encroachment is a sign of poverty. People know what to do. Everybody knows what needs to be done. Every root that reforestation can create, it becomes a source of income. We're not looking for beneficiaries to receive handouts. We want to build a product with the Busoga Kingdom, with IRCU, with the structures that are there. And this becomes something that is earned by the communities. We planted 1 million trees. Next year, we're going to get a check of that fruit. The year after that, we're going to get a check for that fruit. Because then it becomes more than just trees. It becomes about livelihood projects. I've told the story many, many times already, but I just love it too much. Teach a man how to fish and he will eat for a day. Great. But we want this man to have a fishing boat, a fishing rod, a fishing net. That's a livelihood. That's a business. Climate finance will fund that. It also provides enough income that the second person can transport that fish and open a shop in the market. That's another business from the same fish. Somebody else can get microfinance through climate finance and now open a restaurant to sell that fish a third time. And what then the last and final step is that we need to teach Uganda communities how to create products that are paid for on the global market. What we do locally, people will pay for on the global market. We have Muzungus here that have traveled the world. I'm part of the diaspora. I'm Ugandan. My first memories are from here. And we're all here to give back. And if we stand together, we can build a great future.
Samuel Kaziimba from the Grow Foundation, members of the Interreligious Council, our friends and partners, the press. I must say that you are very important guests.
Thank you.
And I must tell you that, as the minister said, it's now 1 month and 2 days since we celebrated the historic royal wedding. You are the first guests that have been hosted in this palace. Ordinarily, I would have received you at our administrative offices. But the fact that you wrote to His Majesty and your communication was directly to His Majesty, where he mandated me to receive you, he asked me to receive you at his palace. So we are glad to receive you here. Me and my colleagues, the ministers here, on behalf of His Majesty, you are most welcome. We are excited, I must say, because the program that you have come with is the theme that His Majesty has declared, that is the greening of Busoga. Wow. You have touched us, or you have touched the King. Where, I mean, I don't even know how to say it, but I'm sure wherever he is, he must be very excited. And I'm sure after here, I'll make the first call to him to tell him that Your Majesty, we received your visitors and they have delivered this message to you. And I promise you that I'll convey the message the way you have given it to me. Buga Kingdom is formed of 11 chiefdoms, which is headed by His Majesty. The last census, I think, gave us 4 million, 4 point something million, but I'm sure now we should be clocking about 6 million people. For you to choose Busoga as the first pilot project for this, I think is not by mistake. Maybe you have been following the Majesty's call for greening Busoga, and that's why you are here, and we want to commend you and thank you for prioritizing Busoga and having it as your pilot project. We have structures in Kyabazinga'S Busoga, that is Busoga Kingdom. We have the chiefdoms, we have the clan leaders, we have the Gombololas, those are the sub-counties, we have the villages. So when you come down, you'll find that our institution, Busoga Kingdom, suits very well with this project that you have come with. And I want to assure you, as our partners, that where His Majesty sits until the last person, the last servant, or the last subject of the King. It is also important for you to note that as Busoga, we are badly off when it comes to conservation. People have rampantly cut trees. So this project has come at the right time. And for you to earmark 30 million trees for Busoga, I think they deserve a clap. And Mr. Mukalazi whispered to me here that out of the 30 million trees, 1 million trees is going to be dedicated to the King. Yes. And the King will have the choice of where to plant those trees. I have also requested Mr. Mukalazi, the head of the Grow Foundation, that we shall have a symbolic event where we request you that we shall have the King to plant the first tree to symbolize the project, which he has gratefully accepted. So my ministers, I want you to take note of that, that the first tree of this project will be planted by His Majesty and the Inevantu, the Mama of Busoga, about the particular trees that we are going to plant. But I think in our discussions, as we progress this discussion, and as we continue discussing the memorandum of understanding, I am sure we shall have medicinal trees, we shall have trees that will provide shade, we shall have trees that will provide fruits. I'm just trying to translate what I have said for people to capture what I'm saying. Yes. So I'm sure, as Mr. Mugalu said and Mr. Mukwaya said, it is not going to be a project where people are going to take photos and everything end there. From today, we have exchanged the contacts. I have Mr. Mukwaya's contact, Mr. Gamana Weka, and Mr. Mugalu also, who is also going to get a name when the Kyabazinga'S will be planting the first tree, that we shall be steadfast of making sure that we have the realization of this project. Abantu baife balina okusimba emiti, abantu baife balina okutegeera nti emiti gino giri kwida okutolawo obwavu. Mr. Mugalu wanayogeire ku ekya carbon credit. I want to tell you, Mr. Mugalu, I have a small project there. Next time when you come, not here where I've pointed, but this is the palace. But there's a project I have there. I was interested so much into that carbon credit project. So I started planting the trees. When you come next time, I'll give you a tour and you'll see. It's about 8 acres, so 80. So you'll have to see that we started these things before, but now that you have come, we shall also go into a big way. I also want to mention that as an institution and somebody who His Majesty entrusted with handling partnerships, I am very keen and I want you to know now that I'll be knocking your door, because you can see the press is here. They are picking every word, and you know what social media has brought now. People will start asking me, they will not even wait for the MOU to be signed. They will want to know how the project has started. So I want to encourage you to see that we have the realization, because it is something that His Majesty has really put emphasis on, to see that we green Busoga and make sure that our environment changes for the better. My minister here whispered to me and said our culture has conservation.
To be planted in His name, to be planted in His name. Oh my God. Oh, we should.
I have a marker, but maybe on the back. Maybe on the back.
On the back.
Yes.
Yes.
It will get spoiled.
That is
We are going to send someone.
Okay. Thank you very
The team from Grow Foundation alone.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. We have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot.
And I know it's gonna be good.
Yes, it will be.
Kantwala mukisa guno okulamusa abasoga bonna bonna emuli nti tuli wano egenge Council and Grow Foundation. The team came with a program of deforestation. The program is to plant 250 million trees in Uganda with a project cost of $75 million. The pilot project is going to take place in Busoga, where we Kyabazinga'S and them are going to plant 30 million trees. Out of the 30 million, we are going to start with the Kyabazinga'S, who is going to plant 1 million trees out of the 30 million trees. The trees will include medicinal trees, fruit trees, and also trees that will provide shade. I want to implore the people of Busoga to ensure that we embrace this project. We through our structures, as we cooperate with these investors who have come, because as you all know very well, Busoga has gone through a very difficult time in terms of deforestation. So we want to plant these trees to ensure that we restore the trees and the forests that we had in Busoga. As you all are aware, the program for His Majesty and Inabantu for the 3-year program was to conserve our environment. So this project has come at the right time when we feel that it is time now to plant the trees. I encourage all the Busoga to come and support this project. It is good because in planting these trees and doing carbon credit, it is going to alleviate poverty. It's going to help our people to improve on their livelihoods. We're going to consider churches, we are going to consider the mosques where they have, and we are also going to consider people who have land. We shall encourage them to provide their land and plant these trees. We wish all the Busoga a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. We wish you all the best. We have had a good year. We have had a historic royal wedding, so we are all blessed. We thank you for the support that you accorded us when we were in the preparations of this historic royal wedding. I thank you, Busoga, Kwisania.
Hello, I'm Paul Flynn of the Grow Foundation, Paul Kyabazinga'S Flynn to be precise. I'm part of the Ugandan diaspora. So my very, very first memories are of Uganda, Kisasi, not too far from here, in the Buga Kingdom. And so many of the diaspora are learning things with the Muzungus in Europe, and they can bring a lot of knowledge back, and this is what we're doing. So we are a project that's dedicated to planting 1 billion trees by 2030, 250 million of which will be in Uganda. What we're doing on top of that is that we're using climate finance, carbon credits that people have heard so much about now, to bring real wealth into grassroots community. It is our vision to end poverty using climate finance. Now, I've been asked, is this feasible? It is if we work with grassroots communities. We are not looking for beneficiaries. We're not a charity. I want to teach the communities of Uganda through the structures of the IRCU and the structures of the Buga Kingdom way, so that the fruit that they bear through climate finance is money. Money that can be used for food security, water security, education, skills training, and microfinance to create livelihood projects. So when you say, is it feasible? Yes, it is. The land is there. The people are there. Now we all know there's issues with trees being cut down and we need to plant more trees. But the truth is that Uganda is rich. It needs an opportunity to create its own future, to take control of its own future. And what we're bringing as a gift is the knowledge of how to use climate finance, so that at the end of the day the communities can create projects of their own, livelihoods that will end poverty, hopefully forever. In Uganda, we're committed to 250 million trees and have allocated $75 million to be invested by 2030. Now this is the money that goes directly into the communities for tree planting and skills training. We're looking after vulnerable children, women and smallholder farmers. That's what you do initially. Now the beauty of this project is that once we've invested these 75 million trees into $75 million into grassroots communities, they will now bear the fruit in the form of carbon certificates. This fruit, like from any fruit of a tree, annually will bring income into the communities. So for 45 years after planting, the communities will still be benefiting every year with money that they can use as they see fit. It is not charity, it is earned income. They're not beneficiaries, they are partners in this project. That's the key to sustainable impact. The King personally will be planting the very first tree for the next rain season and kick this off. We have donated to or committed to plant 1 million trees in his name in locations of his choice. That has a value of about $250,000. So again there it will be the trees, but also social impact projects around him directly to his name as our gift to his recent wedding. We are starting as a Ugandan Irish boy. The very first place we are planting is Uganda.
But we're also already active in Kenya. We're looking at locations in Tanzania, Rwanda, Somalia, the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Sierra Leone. In Southeast Asia, we've been talking to projects in Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, and Indonesia. And in Latin America, we're starting in Mexico. Eventually, the goal is to go to every country where we can really work with communities on the ground. We're not coming in as a financial institution. We're coming in as a foundation to work with grassroots communities. We don't have investors. We don't have shareholders. The majority of the benefit, should come here. So wherever communities are striving for that opportunity to make a difference, that's where we're going to go.